Ok, clase, para este video vamos a hablar sobre los adjetivos or, in English, Spanish adjectives. Now, we've already learned, and I've already given you a list of different Spanish adjectives. However, here is the grammar behind it. Okay? First off, an adjective, just in case you have forgotten, is a word that describes or modifies a noun. Examples would be pretty, ugly, tall, short, so on, so forth. Okay? Spanish adjectives always go after the noun in Spanish. I realize in English we always put it before, right? The pretty girl. In Spanish, it would be the girl pretty. So you have to put it behind. So here's some examples in Espanol. El amigo guapo. The handsome friend. Yes, indeed. La escuela grande. The large school. Okay? Now, in Spanish, the adjective must agree with the noun it describes in gender and in number. And what I mean by gender is if it's masculine or feminine, and in number, and what I mean by that is singular or plural. So let's look at that a little bit more in detail. First, you have to know that there's 3 different kinds or categories of adjectives. There's adjectives that end in O, adjectives that end in E, and adjectives that end in a consonant. For the adjectives that end in O, they have 4 forms. So if I gave you an adjective that said bueno, right? Okay, that's an adjective ending in O. You have to know that it can either be one out of these 4, which we were kind of working with yesterday. Bueno, which would be masculine singular. Buena, feminine singular. Os, which is masculine plural. And as, which is feminine plural. So we have O, a, os, and as, right? So let's take a look at this example. El amigo bueno, the good friend. So if amigo is masculine singular, we have to put this as masculine singular, bueno. If amiga is feminine singular, we must put the adjective as feminine singular. If amigos is masculine plural, this is masculine plural. If this is feminine plural, this is feminine plural. You getting the picture? You getting the picture? Okay, now note, something for you to note. Note that if you use the masculine form when a group consists of both boys and girls, or you do use that. So I mentioned this in clase to some of you, but if there were, for example, a room with 20 girls and only 1 boy in it, I need to refer to them as amigos, not amigas. Even though there's more girls in the room, I have to use the masculine noun and adjective. As I mentioned before to some of you, masculinity trumps femininity in this case. Okay? An example sentence would be, Rachel y Brandon son amigos buenos. Rachel and Brandon are good friends. Notice, even though I'm a girl, right, and Brandon's a boy, I have to use os because he is a male and what he does goes, or what he says goes. Okay? So that was our first one, adjectives ending in O. Now we're moving on to adjectives ending in E. If an adjective ends in an E, it will only have 2 forms, singular and plural. Okay? So here's some examples. El curso interesante, the interesting course. Let's pluralize that. Or I'm sorry, let's do a different one. Las clases interesantes, the interesting classes. Right? So the only thing you need to know about this is anytime you come across an adjective that ends in E, there's no other forms of the E change into an O, an A, or anything like that. Just it goes from E to ES. All right, and finally, adjectives ending in consonants. If an adjective ends in a consonant, it will only be singular or plural. So to make it plural, add ES at the end, and we did this a little bit yesterday. El curso difícil, the difficult course. So it ends in a consonant. If I want to say difficult classes, las clases difíciles. See? Just add an ES. Okay? So let me just make sure that you understand what I've discussed so far. Do Spanish adjectives go before or after a noun? Try to answer these questions before I do. After. How many categories of adjectives are there? 3. What are the 3 adjective categories? Ends in O, ends in E, and ends in a consonant. Okay, now let's have some práctica for you. I have these simple just phrases for you, and I want you to match the correct adjective to the noun. So we have el amigo, so would you choose bueno or buena? I have una muchacha, would you choose guapo or guapa? So on and so forth. So take a moment, pause the video, and write down your answers, and let's see what you get. Here are the answers. Las respuestas. El amigo bueno, the good friend. Una muchacha guapa, a beautiful girl. La escuela grande, the big school. Los alumnos tontos, the foolish students. Unas amigas bonitas, the pretty friends. Or I'm sorry, some pretty friends. Unos muchachos pobres, some poor boys. Los cursos difíciles, the difficult courses, and el alumno perezoso, the lazy student. Hopefully you got all those, and hopefully it was not too difícil for you. Difícil means difficult. And with that, this is el fin, and that is all. Adiós y chao.